Um, well, I'm really glad that I made this new rule for myself to only tape if I go for a walk, because I sure wouldn't have come out. Um, I tend to hibernate because I don't fit well in society right now. Pretty sure there's a mental illness, social phobia of some kind, they would label it. Um, but that's because I see a lot of problems in the world and I can no longer keep my mouth shut. I can no longer do the wrong thing. And basically, because I experienced a life of what feels more like torture, and I know there's a hell of a lot that have had it worse, and it's going to get a lot worse for everybody who didn't have it worse. But because I had all of these experiences, I know in my upbringing, I was born to think I had nothing to offer. I was no good, and then they created what they thought I was just by constantly repeating it all the time. But my inner voice says, no, you got something to offer. No, you are here for a reason. You do have a valuable purpose. This is my inner voice talking. And so what my whole life experience has been is proving that I have something to offer. And that's what I think a lot of people are going through is you're probably told that you're useless. All these people that have a lot of money, you're just useless eaters. You have no value. There's the same pattern going on within the smallness of our experience and the bigness of our experience. So what is happening in my family experience, the types of problems are very similar to the global problems that we're dealing with. So what happened is, because I was always told I was the problem, I read every freaking book on how to solve problems. At the same time, I was seeing things that other people don't see. And while being told, or the world perceives me as having nothing to offer, it's like, well, if you heard some of the things that I could see, if you could understand some of the things, it probably would benefit your life a lot more. And mostly is, parents that were trying to teach me how to be happy, and they were the least happiest people on the planet. It's like, how can you teach me something you don't know? I don't think that is a hard thing to see, but it's something that I've seen all my life. A lot of people that aren't very successful at what they do keep thinking that they know how to teach you how to do something that's not proven to be very good. So as a result, I read a lot of books and had to find a lot of sciences that explains what I see going on. And we see so many people on this planet that have unique skills that we label and put down because we don't understand it. There's new kids that are crystal children. We've labeled a lot of different kids that see the same types of things as I see, but how they're relating to what they see is based on very old science that is very dead wrong. So those that are enlightened are only enlightened to a lot of false information, and you're not really understanding your true purpose of why you're here. Part of what I wanted to do today is technically, if this new science, reading all of the books and finding out which books are good and which ones aren't, think of me more as a book critic. And every self-help book that I've read has a lot of contradictions and a lot of things that don't work, and they're a cause of a lot of the problems that we're dealing with. So if you're using any problem-solving tools that you know of today and think that it'll solve any type of problem, you're dead wrong. But it doesn't mean that there aren't really, really good tools out there. It's like part of everything is right, and part of everything you don't know, putting that to the puzzle will give you a tool that can solve every problem that you're dealing with. So, and it is a process of tracking and So I thought I'd do a video on maybe trying a global tracking. I mean, if you can do it one-on-one, you should be able to do it on a global scale, on a video. Now, part of tracking is knowing that you've been influenced. If we have any type of problem, if you're at war with somebody, if you have a fight within your family dynamics, if you are faced with a problem in front of you, if you make a complaint or an excuse about anything, if you see in your world that something is wrong, you are the solution to it. So, and the people that are the strongest at being the solution are the ones that suffer the most. Because if you suffer the most, then you are experiencing it the most. You have more motivation to solve it. So this is like the types of tracking, the target that might be interested in this. You know, if you've ever suffered from any kind of addiction, if you are a truther and you see a lot of lies, if you suffer from any depression, mental illness, if anybody that's suffering from basically any type of illness, if you wanted to do any tracking, this can help cure you. And what this will do for you is give you an understanding of why you're here, what's your purpose, what are you supposed to do next. And it's the same thing for me, that I've had to do my own tracking because there ain't anybody that can track for me. Because, I mean, even the creator of this book, he needs to track before he can track me, because in his own books he was saying you're influencing people to have your beliefs. So that's why a tracker needs a tracker. So understand that the way I would track would be definitely influencing other people to hold what I believe to be true. And if it feels right to you, you'll believe it to be true, which is the thing that's very influential. But the whole goal is that you have to believe what you want to believe. Even the best person that can come across your path, that can manipulate you, you have to understand what it is you want to believe. How does that serve your life experience? So I'm had some experiences that you always have to have a baseline, a guide that guides you all the time. I've seen it in hairdressing when you want to make a good haircut. I've seen it in computer programming. I've seen it in business plans, that you have to have an end result that you're always focused on, a target. And once you always know what target you're aiming for, then how you get from A to B, how you create it, just comes really, really natural. So the guideline on doing any tracking would be everybody should enjoy their life. Everybody should get excited to get out of bed. Everybody is able to go to sleep because they're so friggin' exhausted from living an exciting life that they enjoy. And everybody's healthy and happy. No illnesses. Families are getting along. There is no war. The planet's not polluted. Everything is how you would describe heaven to be for every single person on the planet. Now, if that's my guide, it's like, okay, how do we get there? And people that are suffering from depression, what's going on is you are the end result of a mental illness. It's not like you have a mental illness. It's society is the one that anybody that would label you as being depressed would be the problem. Because why would you diagnose somebody that's recognizing something's wrong? Why would you ignore it and think that there's nothing there that you need to listen to? And then put a mental illness attached to it and give pills so that this behavior doesn't happen again. You know, anybody that's depressed is because you are recognizing something is wrong and nobody's listening to you. And at the end of the day, when you do this tracking, you'll find out that you aren't listening to yourself. And if you can't listen to yourself, how do you expect other people to listen to you? So, if you are dealing with a great deal of suffering, no matter what level of illness, it's like losers always win. The guy that's winning has no motivation to make any changes. He's winning. So these big evil guys, they're in your experience for a reason. They're there for you to win at something. So the guy on the bottom, the guy that's suffering, has more motivation to actually win at this game. The question is how are you going to win? And there's some other sides out there. There's a movie, A Beautiful Mind. He created a concept that he won a Nobel Peace Prize for Nash equilibrium, which is the rules to the perfect game. And he was analyzing, what would be the perfect game. So if you're going to design a global solution, and you're using the guidelines that I'm using, Nash equilibrium is the guide, the rules that you put inside this program, this matrix, which is win-win. Perfect game means all sides win, because all sides are motivated to go down the exact same path. Although they all may be individual paths, they are offered a direction that they can't say no to. And it doesn't matter how many people are playing the game. It could be 3 people, but if 3 people are offered something that they can't say no to, then everybody's enjoying the game. So in business, that same concept came up, that if all parties actually are offered something that they can't say no to, then all parties win. But some companies really don't mind failing and just take the money and run, so it was a win-win for them. So what we need to have is a win-win that everybody on the planet wins. There can't be any losers. So if we're going to design this perfect game, you cannot have a loser. So then that's the problem with losers always win, is yes, you may win, but you'll turn into your enemy. You will want them dead. You will wish them harm. You will do evil things to your enemy, the guy on the top. That's like, you're just turning into your enemy. You're turning into evil. And evil needs to be destroyed. And evil would be your depression. It would be your illnesses, or all of the problems that we're facing globally. It's like, as long as evil is on this planet, then we're going to experience hell. And we can repeat this whole pattern so that a lot of people are dying, and we'll be so distanced from each other that we won't have the same level of power we have now. Some of the Bibles are correct. They've been preparing us for this day. That it was all about multiply, and then we're worried about overpopulation. And it's like, do you not think that there's this many people on the planet for a reason? And with these global things, we think nature and it's out of our control aren't so much out of our control. The world is not what you think it is. It's a really windy day. So in this process, you'll see that the world isn't necessarily as round as you think it is, that the stars and the sun and the planets, everything is not what you think it is. And we are doing this to ourselves because evil is on the planet. We don't know what a good idea is. We don't know what winning is. So those that are suffering an awful lot, in order for you to find out your life purpose,